Bardstown, Kentucky, a town known for its rich bourbon heritage, hides a dark secret that no one saw coming. In just a few years, this once peaceful community was torn apart by a string of brutal murders and mysterious disappearances. The most shocking part? The suspects weren't strangers. They were people who lived among them. A police officer murdered, a mother and daughter brutally killed, and a young woman vanishing into thin air, all pointing to one family. As the secrets unfold, it becomes clear that in Bardstown, some killers never face justice. Introduction. The tranquil town. Bardstown, Kentucky is often called the bourbon capital of the world, a charming town with a rich history that dates back to the late 18th century. The quaint streets, lush greenery, and southern hospitality give the town a peaceful, almost idyllic feel. However, beneath its friendly exterior, a dark undercurrent flows. Little did the residents know this quiet town was about to become the epicenter of a terrifying mystery. The year was 2013 when tragedy first struck. Jason Ellis, a beloved Bardstown police officer, was found murdered on the Bluegrass Parkway. It was a crime so violent and sudden that it shattered the town's sense of safety. Officer Ellis had been responding to a roadblock call when, for reasons still unclear, he was ambushed and shot in cold blood. The mystery surrounding his murder set off a chain of events that would forever change the fabric of Bardstown. The murder of Jason Ellis. Jason Ellis wasn't just a police officer, he was a man loved by his community. He had served with the Bardstown Police Department for nearly a decade, known for his calm demeanor and commitment to keeping the streets safe. His murder sent shockwaves through the town, especially because it was so out of character for a place like Bardstown. The idea that someone could target a police officer, a symbol of law and order, in such a ruthless way was unthinkable. The initial investigation into Jason Ellis's death was chaotic. With no clear suspects and few clues, the case grew colder by the day. As the weeks passed, whispers began circulating about possible suspects, and soon the name Nick Houck, a fellow officer, began to surface. Nick Houck was not only a colleague of Ellis, but also a man with a controversial history. His involvement in the case drew widespread attention. Was it possible that Jason Ellis's murder was an inside job? Were there deeper, darker forces at play within the Bardstown Police Department? As the investigation progressed, it became evident that something more sinister was unfolding in this small town. The shadow of corruption. Nick Houck's name was not unfamiliar to many in Bardstown. He had been involved in a number of questionable incidents over the years. While he had never been officially implicated in any serious crimes, rumors about his behavior swirled around town. Some believed that Houck's connections to the criminal world ran deeper than anyone realized. As the investigation into Jason Ellis's death progressed, those rumors gained more weight. It was during this time that Officer Houck's brother, Brooks Houck, was also brought into the investigation. Brooks was known for his volatile temper and past criminal activity. Could this family be involved in a larger conspiracy? Was Jason Ellis's murder just a small piece of a much bigger puzzle? The shocking brutality. Just as the investigation into Ellis's murder began to unravel, another devastating tragedy struck Bardstown. In 2014, Kathy Netherland and her 16-year-old daughter Samantha were found brutally murdered in their own home. The gruesome crime scene was a chilling reminder that the dark forces haunting Bardstown had not been laid to rest. Kathy was a well-liked woman, a devoted mother who worked tirelessly to raise her daughter after her husband's death. Samantha was a bright teenager with a promising future, beloved by her friends and family. The sheer brutality of the murders left everyone in town shaken to the core. No one could fathom who would want to harm such a kind, well-respected family. The initial investigation into the Netherland killings seemed to hit a dead end. There were no signs of forced entry into their home, and no obvious motives. The community was gripped by fear. Could the murders be connected to Jason Ellis's death? Was there a serial killer on the loose in Bardstown, or was something else at play? As the investigation continued, authorities began to uncover a startling connection between the Netherland case and the Houck brothers. A chilling theory began to form, one that suggested that the deaths of Ellis, Kathy, and Samantha were all part of a much larger conspiracy involving corruption, betrayal, and a town that had buried its darkest secrets for far too long. Unraveling the web of deception. Detective John O'Mara, a seasoned investigator who had been involved in both the Ellis and Netherland cases, began to dig deeper into the Houck family's background. What he uncovered was shocking. It seemed that Brooks and Nick Houck were not just two rogue cops. They were part of a network of individuals tied to criminal activity in Bardstown. Their connections ran deep, stretching from drug trafficking to organized crime. O'Mara was convinced that the Houck brothers were at the heart of a criminal operation that had been thriving in Bardstown for years. But despite the mounting evidence, there was still no hard proof to bring them to trial. The more O'Mara dug, the more dangerous things became. It seemed that Bardstown's shadowy figures would stop at nothing to keep their secrets hidden. The Vanishing Act. In 2015, Crystal Rogers, a mother of 5 children, was living with her boyfriend Brooks Houck. Their relationship was far from perfect. Crystal had recently moved back to Bardstown after separating from her husband. But when she disappeared without a trace one summer evening, everything changed. Crystal's car was found abandoned on the Bluegrass Parkway, but she was nowhere to be found. The investigation into her disappearance soon focused on Brooks Houck. Authorities learned that Crystal had been in a tumultuous relationship with Brooks, and that their relationship had been on the rocks in the months leading up to her disappearance. Yet despite intense scrutiny, Brooks remained adamant that he had no involvement in her disappearance. The investigation into Crystal's case took on a new urgency when it was discovered that Tommy Ballard, Crystal's father, had been shot and killed during a hunting trip in 2016. Ballard had been vocal about his suspicions regarding his daughter's disappearance and had been working closely with authorities to uncover the truth. The chilling pattern. As the investigation into Crystal Rogers' disappearance progressed, more and more questions arose. Was her disappearance linked to the earlier murders of Jason Ellis and Kathy and Samantha Netherland? Or was there something even darker at play? The murders of Crystal Rogers and Tommy Ballard were just the latest in a long line of tragic events that seemed to be intertwined in a complex web of corruption and violence. The more authorities uncovered, the more they realized that Bardstown was not the charming, peaceful town it appeared to be. Instead, it was a place where dark secrets festered beneath the surface, secrets that some people would do anything to keep hidden. The breakthrough. In 2023, after years of dead ends, investigators finally made a breakthrough in the case. Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson were arrested in connection with Crystal Rogers' disappearance and murder. The arrest came after new evidence was uncovered linking Brooks to Crystal's death. The investigation had finally put together the pieces of the puzzle, and Bardstown's darkest secrets were on the verge of being revealed. But the story didn't end there. As the trial began, new evidence emerged suggesting that Tommy Ballard's murder was not just an unfortunate hunting accident, but a calculated execution to silence him. The true depth of the Houck brothers' criminal activities began to come to light, and it became clear that Bardstown's story was far from over. The final chapter. As the trial continued, the residents of Bardstown waited for justice. Was it possible that the town's darkest criminals would finally face the consequences of their actions? Or would they continue to evade justice, leaving Bardstown to remain a town haunted by its own secrets? The case remains ongoing, and Bardstown's story is far from finished. As the investigation into the Houck brothers continues, the people of Bardstown are left to wonder, what other dark secrets are hiding in this small, quiet town? If you found this story compelling, make sure to subscribe, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinions matter, and we'd love to hear from you.